Hey, y'all know me dropping in to spread a little tea. And you know how we do it, so let's get right into it. So, this is the story of a mother who was in a DV relationship at a very young age. She had two children within the same year, and she's going to tell you how the baby's father legally kidnapped one of her children for 6 years. Now, some of the parts she's going to drag it out, but trust me, you want to listen to this whole story. I will cut in every so often and give my commentary. So let's get into this story.
I'm not going to make you guys wait until tonight. So this is the start of the series to my son, how my son was legally kidnapped by his father for 8 years, when I met him for the first time, and how all this even came about. So I got all the court paperwork here as well. I'm going to call him Tyrone. So I met Tyrone when I was 16 years old, and I got pregnant at 17 years old. He was 3 years older than me, so I was 16, he was 19. I ended up getting pregnant, of course, and I gave birth to our son 2 months, well, a month and some change before I actually turned 18. I was on probation, so I didn't get off probation until the day I turned 18, maybe like a day or two after I turned 18. Tyrone ended up having to go back to the Bay Area where he's from. I'm from San Diego. So he ended up having to go back to the Bay Area, leaving me and our newborn son here because he had got into some legal trouble. So he went back to the Bay Area, and the plan was for me to follow once I turned 18. So once I turned 18, my stepdad took me to the courthouse to see if they were going to let me on probation. I was going to go regardless because I was so far manipulated. I was gone, y'all. I was gone. I didn't know any better. My stepdad literally looked at me as soon as the courts let me off probation. He looked at me and he said, as soon as you get out there, he's going to start hitting you. I still hopped my silly butt on that Greyhound with my newborn baby. So when we got there, he started hitting me that same night. Didn't waste any time. I want to tell you guys more detail without disrespecting this woman, because she is the only one in his family that did not do anything to me, and I love her to death. It's his mama. When I first got there with my newborn baby, there were literally roaches falling from the ceiling. He did not make me aware of any of that, because he knew I wouldn't have came. But anyways, things were already so far gone between me and my mom, it was no way for me to even turn back around and go back. So I'm here. So obviously I was like, I had never seen a roach in person before. So I was like, I'm getting itchy all over again. Okay. Anyways, he felt like that was extremely disrespectful of me to be scared of roaches, so he started beating me up. I know it sounds funny, but yeah, it definitely was not funny at the time when I was going through it. So his grandmother on his mom's side lived down the hill, and then his grandmother on his dad's side lived up the hill. Seriously, I had never seen it before. But yeah, they all grew up on that street, so that's how that happened. So we went up to his grandmother on his dad's side, up the hill, and she said that we cannot stay there together, that me and the baby can stay there, but Tyrone would have to stay down the hill because we were not married, and she did not believe in that. So he did not agree with that. He did not want me alone at his grandmother's house because I'm such a cheater and da-da-da-da-da-da. We end up sleeping in a car and then going to the welfare office in the morning to apply for those hotel vouchers. We end up doing that. The 14 days run out for the hotel voucher. So we end up back at the mama's house, and we end up living in a tent. I have so many pictures on my social media still of the tent in the background, because we were living in a tent inside of the home to avoid the bugs from getting in. It was that bad, yes. So then eventually we end up getting our own place. He's still he's cheating on me. He's putting his hands on me. I'm showing the proof to his auntie. We're gonna call her Teresa. They're all T's, so I gotta keep it all T's. We're gonna call her Teresa. So Auntie Teresa, I'm showing her all the proof. She sits him down and she talks to him, and she says, She tells him, like, you brought this girl all the way out here for you to be treating her like this and cheating on her. If you're not going to treat her right, send her home. Send her home. I remember that specific conversation that she had with him. He's like, I'm going to be treating her. I'm going to be treating her right, whatever. I walked into the house one day. He left his laptop up. And I saw more of him cheating on me. And I get beat up again. Mind you, I'm pregnant at this time. So one of our mutual friends come down, which is my old best friend's cousin, blood cousin. So he ends up coming down and witnessing what's happening to me. Mind you, his cousin, which is my best friend at the time, she was supposed to be coming down and spending time with me. So he goes back. He ends up leaving early. He was supposed to stay there because he just couldn't bear to see what was being done to me in that home. So he goes back and tells her, you don't want to go out there. You don't want to see her like that. She's blowing on my phone trying to figure out what he meant by that. I'm not telling him. Like, I'm not telling her anything because I was like overly embarrassed. I was too embarrassed. I was not the type of person that goes and like vents to people if I know I'm not leaving, you know? He ends up kneeing me in my stomach, which then sends me to the hospital to give birth to our son early. That is why my children are born in the same year, because he kneed me in my stomach. Him kneeing me in my stomach actually caused an infection. So after I had the baby, that infection created like a sticky paste inside of me, and when my organs were trying to go back into their regular spots, they were pulling on each other because that infection had stuck them together. So I was in excruciating pain. I'm begging him to help me with the baby because I can barely move. He's not trying to help me. He's still verbally abusing me and not trying to help me at all. I end up having to call the ambulance so the ambulance can come and get me because I could not move. When they did the ultrasound, they couldn't see an issue because my organs were pulled back into place, but they were still stuck together. So they couldn't see it. They had to go in my belly button with a camera, and that's how they saw it. And then they fixed it, separated all my organs back to their regular place, and then I was discharged from the hospital like 2 to 3 days later, where he started beating me up again. So there was a church across the street. So I ended up begging him to take us to the church because I just felt like this is my way to get out. So when they called us to come to the altar, I was hoping that he did not come, and he didn't. So when I got to the altar, I whispered in their ear exactly what was going on. So we came up with a plan for me to get me and the boys out of there safely. So one of the members of the church had a nephew who was a police officer, because in California, if any domestic violence is going on, they instantly call CPS, and they're so used to like people going back to their abusers that they're starting to just take y'all kids. So she did not want that to happen to me. So we came up with an entire plan. He had school the next day, so the plan was for me to, once he got to school, pack our bags, because I couldn't pack our bags that night while he was there or he would have suspected something. And honestly, I felt like he was going to kill me. So once he left to school that morning, the plan was for me to pack my bags and leave safely. Well, that morning, he asked to take our oldest son to school with him. So that threw the whole plan out of whack. So I'm telling him like, no, I was planning on taking them to the park today. He's like, well, we can take him to the park when I get back home from school. I'm like, yeah, no, but like, I really wanted to take him to the park. And now he's hitting me. Mind you, our 2-week-old son is strapped to me. So the member of the church is outside, parked around the corner, because we already had the time frame planned out. So she's parked around the corner, and her police officer nephew is there as well. Well, when I don't come out, and neither does he at the time, the phone rings. So that was the plan for her to call. And if I don't answer the phone, they're supposed to barge in. So that's what ended up happening. So the phone rang. I tried to run to go and grab the phone, and he snatches it and unplugs it from the wall. And then that's when the police officer comes to the door. I thought I was all the way healed, but I'm really having to relive it again in my head is like kind of traumatizing me a little bit. But we're gonna keep pushing through this, I guess. Anyways, so they end up coming inside. The officer ends up talking to him about it and telling him like, man, you're not trying to go to jail. Let her leave. Let my auntie take her where she needs to go. I'm gonna drop you off at the BART station and you're just gonna go to school. So that's what happened. His grandma and his auntie, they start blowing up my phone and you stabbed my nephew and da-da-da-da-da-da. Not even concerned about the fact that he put his hands on me. I only stabbed him in the hand that he hit me with. But forget all the extra stuff. Their nephew is just so innocent and I'm the problem and da-da-da-da-da. You know how that go. Y'all know how that go. If you know, you know. So anyways, she ends up just saying, I'm gonna buy your ticket back home to your mom. So she pays for my ticket to get on the Greyhound back home to my mom. So that's what I do. I go. I guess one of them or somebody ended up calling CPS because CPS was at my mom's house not even 2 days later. You know, he's blowing up my phone still, asking to see his sons. And I just felt like no matter what he did to me, you can still see your sons. Like, I don't know. I was young and dumb, y'all. That's the best way that I could describe it. The CPS worker kept telling me, no, don't let him see the boys. But I didn't listen. My mom kept saying, no, don't let him see the boys. But I didn't listen. Like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a new mom. I have absolutely no guidance. I have 2 sons under the age of 1 in diapers. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't have any help. It's just me. So his cousin, we're going to call her Ray. So his cousin Ray ends up moving to Phoenix, Arizona, where she invites me to come with her and her boyfriend and their kids, and she is offering to help babysit so I can get my first job and be able to provide for my children. Well, when I get there, I'm not going to put her business out there, but it was wild, okay? That, to say the least, it was wild. I come home from work one day and my son has bruises on his back. They're fighting. They start fist fighting. Her sister jumps in and starts I have her on TikTok, so she jumps in, she starts fist fighting. I'm just consoling my son because I'm just scary. That's what it was. I'm scary. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm like, I call the dad and I'm telling him what's going on, and I'm like, her boyfriend is hitting on baby TY, like, while I was at work. The police end up coming over there and telling me that I need to get out of there because they are bringing Child Protective Services to the house in the morning. So I call my mom. She says that she's going to see what she can do. And then now I have no choice but to call the dad because we need to get up out of there. So I call the father. He says he'll be out there the next day. Well, while he's on his way, because he's driving from San Francisco to Phoenix, Arizona. So while he's on his way, my mom finally calls and says that she's on her way. So I'm like, okay, I think it would be easier for me to have 1 child versus 2 children. So I let him decide which child he wants to take, and he decides to take our oldest. The plan was for him to have him for 2 months. The post is still up on my first Instagram that he was only supposed to have him for 2 months and then bring him back. He took my baby. We're staying in communication. We're talking every day on the phone. We're pretty much co-parenting. If I need anything for our youngest son, he sends it. He doesn't ask me for anything for our older son. But like I said, we're talking on the phone the entire 2 months. I get into a relationship, and the minute we go public on social media is when I'm now blocked and I'm not allowed to talk to my son anymore. I call the police and report him as a missing child. That's when they let me know that this is considered a legal kidnapping because he's on the birth certificate. He changed his number. I'm reaching out to his family. I'm trying to, you know, do everything that I possibly can. Nobody wants to give me his location. I go to the courts. They tell me that without an address, the motion won't be valid because he has to be served and an officer has to serve him because of our domestic violence past. So I'm pretty much reaching out to everyone, begging. Months go by, nothing. Now it's around Christmas time. All I ask for Christmas is to be able to talk to my son. So I guess his family gets a hold of him, allows him to call me so I can talk to my son on Christmas. I talked to my son on Christmas for about 10 minutes before he hangs up on me. I didn't hear from my son again until his birthday. His dad calls me on his second birthday and allows me to talk to him for 2 minutes. And then he hangs up on me. He called from a private number, by the way, so there was no way for me to even be able to call the number back. But he allowed me to talk to my son for 2 minutes on his second birthday. Nothing after that. After that, it's just me constantly trying to, you know, make people feel so bad for me that they will do things against their job title. Like this one officer that I was speaking to, she was not supposed to pull up an address, but she pulled up an address for his mother's house. It ended up being his mother's house. So she pulled up an address and she agreed to send an officer over there to do a welfare check on my son. And that they were going to get back to me and tell me if he was there so I could bring that address to the courts. Well, when the officer got there, it was the mom's house. He had absolutely nothing in his name. Everything was linked back to his mother's house where he did not reside. So it was literally, there was nothing that I could do. I had no address. His family was not trying to help me. No private investigator could find him. I hired 2 different ones. None of them could find him, but they were so nice. They gave me my money back because they just felt bad for me. And since they couldn't do anything for me, they gave me my money back.
No judgment against this mother, but I never understood how a mother could give their child over to the father who is already abusive. I have to say it like that, abusive to them, because in my mind, if he can't control his temper in his hands when he is with me, then I damn well don't trust him being able to control himself around a child. What happens if my child is crying too much and he can't handle it? What happened if my child is doing things and he's just not listening to the father? What happens then? I never understood that. And I figure once she said that she gave him custody for 2 months, sent him with his father for 2 months, I do understand raising 2 kids at a young age is really hard. But I figured once she sent that child with him, it was going to be some smoke. I just figured it would. I knew it would. Let's get back into the story.
So my son's getting older now. Now, remember I told you guys, we have 2 sons together. We have 2. He took 1. So my son that I have is getting older. He's starting to have behavioral issues. I'm reaching out to his auntie Teresa and I'm like, hey, he really needs a male figure in his life. Like, can you please ask his father to, be in his life? Like, I don't know what to do. Keep the boys together. I'm even willing to give him to his father if you can just keep the boys together, and he needs a male figure in his life. She's like, no, because he's saying that that's not his son. So the first time that I'm hearing that he's denying my son. So I'm like, what the heck do you mean? Like, what do you mean that he's denying him? He's like, yeah. I said, okay, well, what about the grandpa? Can the grandpa be in his life? She's like, no, he won't do it without the DNA test. I said, okay, well, you guys take the DNA test then. You guys can do a grandparent DNA test. She's like, no, he's not going to do it because he doesn't want to get involved. He doesn't want to go against Tyrone. And I said, well, this is his family. Like, what? You named him. Auntie Teresa, you named him. Like, what do you mean? I was so mad, y'all. I was so mad. I was so hurt. I just could not. I reach out every now and again to ask them for help, not financially. I've never asked them for help financially. I'm asking them to let one of these men get involved in this little boy's life because I cannot raise no man. I'm a woman. I can't raise no man. That's a man's job. Help me. You feel me? So finally, years later, he decides to reach out once he sees that I'm single. As bad as I want to cuss him out and go off and scream and yell, I keep my composure because he's in control and he knows it. If I get one attitude or a sense of any attitude, that's it. There goes my chance of seeing my son. And he makes sure that I'm very much aware of that he's in control. So I'm being extra nice. I'm following all of his directions. I'm doing everything that he asked me to do so I can be able to see my son again. So he ends up allowing me to fly to where he's at so I can meet my son for the first time and he can meet our other son. Before I left, I shared my location with my friend Shawan. I shared my location with my baby mama Damaris. They don't care if I say their names. Shared my location with my sister. I shared my location with a few people. We put a plan into place. If I do not answer my phone every single hour, I am supposed to answer my phone. If I do not answer, they are supposed to give the police all the information that I provided to them. Well, my phone ends up dying on the bus. So I'm actually panicking because I know that they're going to reach out to me. And if they can't get a hold of me, they're going to go crazy. And now the police are going to show up. He's going to get spooked. And he's going to run off with my son again. And I'm never going to see him again. So that's everything that was going through my head at that moment. Like, oh my God, the police are going to show up. He's going to think I'm setting him up. Like, I don't know what to do. So we finally make it to the hotel room that he has set up, and I plug my phone in and I let everybody know I'm okay. They're all calling like, are you good? Are you good? Are you good? Like my phone's ding, 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 ding as soon as I turn it on. I let everybody know I'm good. I FaceTime them like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. You know, it's cool. When I get there, he brings up the DNA test and says he wants to do a DNA test for our other son. I agree. I don't have anything to hide. So he leaves to go and get the DNA test. He comes back. We do the DNA test and we have his auntie Teresa pick up the DNA test so she can take it to the post office and mail it off herself. That way can't nobody say I did anything to the DNA test. Can't nobody say I altered it or any of the sort. While I'm there in the hotel room, like he ends up trying to like cuddle and lay down, and I am scared. Like I'm trying so hard not to throw up because I'm so disgusted. Like he wants to cuddle, like he's trying to sleep with me, and I'm making every excuse in the book. I just felt like if I don't do what he says, he's gonna take my son away again. So I'm trying my best without actually having to sleep with him. Thank God my period came right on time. My period literally came right on time. My period is never late and it's never early. My period came an entire week early and I knew that was God. So my period comes and that's now my excuse to not sleep with him, but I'm still allowing him to cuddle with me. Like, ugh, I'm getting so disgusted. That's him and the boys laying down together in the bed. That's them. So I leave and go back home, and he texts me this the next day. Well, this is us at the airport when we leave. My son was so sad. He was crying. He did not want me to get on that plane without him, and I felt like, damn, I'm leaving him again. That's how I felt. Well, the next day, he decides to text me this. Y'all can pause and screenshot it, and y'all can read it on your time. But these are all the messages that he sends me the very next day. So that's what he sends me the very next day. I'm playing into it until he trusts me enough to where I can get an actual address and be able to serve him. The reason I didn't serve him, well, the reason I wasn't able to serve him when I flew out there was because he contacted me on a weekend. And I was out there that would, like, it was no way for me to go to a court, file the paper, get the motion, all in time to do that. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing. He's very smart. I'll give him that. He's extremely smart. Anyways, weeks later, the DNA test ends up coming back. Of course, the auntie had the login, so she contacts me too. And she's like, yep, turns out he is ours, like you've been saying. Oh, she's like, Jasmine, don't start making your post and going all crazy like, ha, I told you, because you know how you are. Like, first of all, and I told y'all. She's like, I know, you did, you told us. I only have my baby in the car. None of the other kids are in the car with me. They're actually with my sister. So yeah, I'm gonna go handle him, and then I'll be back with part 4 of how they started treating our second son ever since the DNA test results came out. So this is part 4. The kids are actually in the backyard playing, so I do have a little time by myself to hurry up and get this story out to you guys. Well, at least part 4. Like I said, I'm trying to squeeze 8 years worth of nonsense, but we're almost done. I'm never ever gonna tell a story that only makes me look good. I'm obviously gonna always tell my faults in the story, like I have been. So yeah. So after the DNA test results come out, his dad, which is Tyrone's dad, which is the grandfather, has his forever girlfriend reach out to me and basically say they want to be involved in Titan's life. Tyrone has been ignoring me and fell off the face of the earth and isn't letting me talk to my son anymore. But when she reaches out, she basically says Tyrone is agreeing to give them baby TY, which is our oldest son, and if they can take Titan for the school year and allow them to be brothers. So I agree. You know, at this point, like, I'm plotting, like, okay, yeah, I know where my son is at. You know, we could do this. You know, I end up lying to them and telling them that I have full custody of Titan just in case they try to do anything sneaky, like y'all finna go to jail. So they come out to where I was staying at in Vegas with my homegirl, and they're talking mad crap about Tyrone. Yeah, when we got him, he didn't know anything. Like, he wasn't smart. Like, they're talking so bad. Like, yeah, he was a terrible father and da-da-da-da-da. So I'm, like, side-eyeing them, but I'm still like, okay, whatever. And they're like, yeah, so we'll be out here in the next week or two to pick up Titan, and we'll take him out there, and they can be brothers, and then you can communicate with us and speak to your son. I'm like, okay, so I agree to it. They give me their address. I'm like, okay. So they come, they pick him up. I send an email basically giving her temporary custody, so that way, you know, she can sign him up for school, etc., because I'm not going to that state with them. So my youngest son gets there first, Titan. He gets there first, and then baby TY comes after. Well, when baby TY gets there, they end up calling me saying that he sent my son there with nothing. Like, the clothes are like ripped up, baggy, like he can't fit them, shoes are bad. So I go on almost $1,000 shopping spree, send my son all brand new Nikes, the both of them. I never got one thing without the other. A whole new wardrobe of clothes, motorcycles. Like, I went all out, y'all. I missed 8 years of my son's life. I went all out. New game system, hoverboards. Like, I'm not trying to say I'm trying to buy his love, but he's 8 now, you know? Like, he's 8. Let me do everything for him. So he's out there and I'm able to talk to them, but I'm noticing that every single time I'm talking to my sons, the grandparents are standing right behind them. Like, there was never a moment where they were able to talk to me by themselves. So the school year is ending, and now I'm about to drive down there to get what I thought I was getting, the boys. I've been reaching out to Tyrone online, asking him, like, hey, what if I let you get both the boys first and then I get both the boys next, just so you can trust that I'm not on anything funny, because I'm really trying here. Like, I will let you get them first and then we can swap. Or you get them for the school year and I get them for summer. He keeps saying, I'll think about it, I'll think about it, I'll think about it. This is months before actual summer gets there. So summer's here and now it's time for me to pick them up. I'm like, Tyrone is not answering me at all. So I'm reaching out to the grandparents like, hey, like, can I get them? Like, They wouldn't even allow me to come down there for my youngest son's birthday. He wanted to go to Legoland. They were like, well, if you come down here, of course you can take Kidn, but you can't take baby TY to Legoland for his birthday. I said, well, can you guys come? Because my son really wants to go to Legoland. They're like, no, we can't go. I'm like, wow. It's like, it was just a mess. So anyway, Summer's there. So I drive down there with my fiance at the time. So we get there and they're like, we're trying to get a hold of him. He's not answering, so it doesn't look like you can take Tyler. Well, baby TY. Like, it doesn't look like you can take baby TY. His real name is Tyler the Third. I just gave you guys some information without giving you information. My son's name is Tyler the Third, the one Tyrone kidnapped, legally kidnapped. So they're playing. So right at this point, I'm looking at my fiance at the time, and I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to be able to walk up to that front door and take my youngest son back in front of the other one. I'm not doing that. It's no way I'm doing that. So I went to the CPS office first to see what they can do. It wasn't anything that they could do. I went to the police station. It ended up being in the wrong district or whatever. So then I had to go to the correct one. And they pretty much tell me a plan, like, we can help you, but this is what you have to do. So I'm like, okay. So they pretty much told me that I have to go to the house. I have to make sure that Tyrone is not there. I have to have proof of the birth certificate that I am the mother, and they have to be able to identify me as the mother, and I have to have room in my car for them. I said, okay. So we pull up to the house, and I call the police and tell the police that I'm here. The police pull up. They go into the house and they retrieve both the boys and they bring them out to me, and they're yelling, his family, they're yelling. They're like, no, 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 you're not taking them. No, no. The police asked my son, my oldest one, baby TY, like, do you want to go with your mom? And he's like, yes, I want to go with my mom. So the police give me my baby. Sorry. The police give me my baby. And I just was like, so they make sure that the car is big enough for all of them to be in the car. I made sure that I got a car big enough for all of them. That was my plan. I had his dogs in the back. My son asked me for a dog. I went and I got it. I went and I got the dogs for him. I'm so sorry. I went and I got the dogs for him, and then the police told us that we can leave. The police left, we left. Next thing I know, we get to like the third light, and the grandparents and his family, and I guess their roommate, is chasing us in a car. But I had told my fiance at the time, I said, we're being followed. He's like, no, we're not. No, we're not. I said, yes, we're being followed. I said, watch, turn this corner. So he turns the corner. The cars follow. Next thing you know, we're cut off in the front. So my fiance at the time is trying to back out. My sons in the back are yelling like, they have guns. They have guns. So he's speeding backwards. We end up crashing into this lady who had nothing to do with anything. Everybody... My fiance at the time, he gets out the car. All the guys get out the car. I had to go calm.
Now, before I go any further, I knew when she agreed to allow her boys to go with the grandfather and his girlfriend, I just had a feeling this is going to go left. I know she said she had a plan. She was plotting and planning, but I knew that this was going to be, this was going to go left. I knew it. Let's get back to the story.
Like talking about this stuff around the kids. Anyways, I noticed that we're being followed. So I'm telling him, my fiance at the time, we're being followed. He's like, no, we're not. I'm like, turn here. He turns. Both the cars are still following us. I'm like, make another turn. Basically, we about to go in a square. Hold on. Yeah, so basically my intentions are to go in a square. So I'm like, turn, car follows. I'm like, make another turn, the car follows. Now when we make that turn, that's when we notice that they notice that we know we're being followed. So they get on the phone. So we go boom, boom. And right when we're making that last boom, we get cut off. So we got a car on the side of us now because he done pulled up. We're blocked off right here. So we have no choice but to go backwards. So he starts flying backwards because my sons are in the back yelling that their grandfather has guns. So we're flying backwards, crash into this innocent lady that didn't have anything to do with anything. I'm on the phone with the police. I'm hysterical, clearly. So I'm like, oh my God, like, telling them everything that's going on, telling them where we're at. So my fiance at the time, he's so angry. He don't care that they got guns. He just getting out the car ready to fight them. So he get out. They get out. He's sitting there like, what's up? Like, this my family now. Like, what's up? What's up? Like, he's really saying that to them. They got their hands in they pants, you know, when you got a gun. So they got their hands like that. And he like, I don't care about that gun. I'm like, stop. Like, the police are on the way. Let me just put that out there. They're all from the streets. So when the police arrive, I'm ready to tell it all. They sitting there acting like none of this just happened. They tell me, yeah, we don't know. Like, you know, they got in a little car accident. They looking at me like, ma'am, what happened? I'm like, I ain't from the streets. F y'all. I start telling them what happened. Like, what the? Excuse me? No, you didn't. What? I'm not from the streets. Ain't no street code. This is what happened. So basically, it's like three people's words versus mine. We crashed into that lady, so of course we got the ticket. But everything else was under investigation. I done told them, you need to pull the security footage from the Walgreens right there and from that gas station right there. If you're from San Diego, the situation happened on Massachusetts and that road that the Lemon is on. Right there by the Walgreens and that gas station that's right there. That's where the situation happened at. So I'm telling the officers, like, yeah, y'all need to pull that footage because I don't know what they're talking about. He's like, okay, it'll be under investigation, but for now, you know, you guys are the ones getting a ticket. For one, we didn't have insurance and we crashed into the lady. So yeah, we got a ticket for being in a wreck without insurance. That's what the ticket was for. So anyways, everybody leaves. We drive off. Now the grandfather is pulling up again. So my fiance at the time rolled down the window and I'm yelling like, get away from us. Like, get away. He's like, just let me talk to you. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Just let me talk to you. I said, no, I'm done talking to y'all. I'm done talking to y'all. I said, it's funny how when I've been begging this entire time for y'all to get a hold of Tyler, y'all couldn't get a hold of him. Now all of a sudden y'all able to get a hold of him because he blowing up my inbox. Like, get out of here. Y'all fake. Man, I don't have time. We pull up to my fiance at the time's, his mom's house, which is in LA. So we drive from San Diego to LA and we go spend a night over there. His auntie Teresa, remember I told y'all about her, she ends up calling my phone and she's like, you're wrong, Jasmine, you're wrong. I'm like, how the hell am I wrong? She's like, my brother, talking about the grandfather, my brother opened up his home to your sons and been allowing you to talk to your son, and this is how you treat them. I said, listen to what you're saying. Allowing me to speak to my son, a son that I gave birth to, a son that I carried. I'm supposed to be grateful that you guys are allowing me to do that. I said, take out of the equation that you're related to Tyrone at the moment and think about it as if you were me and all of this was happening to you. After everything you've been through, after everybody knows about all the abuse that he did, and everybody knows that he was cheating on me and beating on me, and now he kidnapped my son, if you were me, how would you react? She hung up in my face. Exactly. We get to my fiance's mom's house, and I notice when I'm pulling out the suitcase that my son brought out, my youngest son brought out, They only came with one suitcase and a plastic bag. So when I pull it out and I'm going through it, it's like 5 outfits of the clothes that I originally sent him there for the beginning of the school year. So you know he can't fit them no more. But like I said, I didn't send them a whole new wardrobe, $1,000 a piece. I sent them a whole new wardrobe. They sent them back with absolutely nothing that I gave to them. Nothing. Not the game system, not the motorcycles, not the hoverboards, not any clothing, underwear, socks. They sent them with nothing. People that I have on my Facebook have been following this story for the last 8 years at this time. So so they've been cheering me on. Once I got the boys back, I posted it. When the police arrived, I posted it. So everybody was cheering me on. Well, once I noticed that, I break down crying because I just spent my last coming out here. I don't have it. So I reach out to all of them, and everybody pitches in and helps me get my babies clothing and shoes that they didn't have. And I was so appreciative of that. So when we make it back to the house, my youngest son wakes up in the middle of the night screaming and crying. So I run in there to see what's going on. And that's when he opens up about all the abuse that he had been facing in that house at the hands of his grandparents.
Well, guys, that's all the commentary I have for now. As always, thanks for watching. I will talk to you shortly. Bye. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell so you can be alerted every time I upload a video. Don't forget to support your Black-owned businesses. Visit ours in the link below.